Mike is a middle-aged man who had been taking care of this house and living in it for his family. His parents had lived there. His father was deceased. His mother was now incapacitated and being cared for in a nursing home under the watchful eye of his sister.
It was his mother's house, and he was watching it for her.
When we first met Mike, he seemed really down on life and just really discouraged that he had this big task ahead of him. And if he didn't get it done, he was going to have to pay all this money to let the town do it for him.
He said that he's been through many hurricanes before, and he just thought Katrina was going to be another one, just another hurricane. And he said he sat through many hurricanes within that house. So he was just going to stay at home. He did his normal stuff, boarded up some windows, put up some sandbags. He
didn't evacuate for the storm because he thought it was just going to be like any other hurricane, you know, not a big deal.
Basically, he ignored the fact that this huge hurricane's coming along, because a lot of people did, is because they're used to hurricanes and they usually just wait them out and it's fine.
When the storm came, he was preparing as he did for previous storms, and then awakened in the middle of the night when a tree hit the house, only to find out that this was not the usual storm.
He woke up in the middle of the night to a tree crashing through his roof, and then he noticed like there was water up to his knees.
And within a couple of minutes, the water was up to his waist, and then he kind of knew he had to get out of the house.
The water was rising in a way it had never done before, and he had to get out for his life.
I'd be scared, but I think in that kind of moment, your survival instincts kick in, hopefully.
So he got dressed. By the time he got dressed, the rooms were really filling up.
He said the water was in his house so high that he had to like duck under the door frames.
Literally moving from room to room, not knowing if the next room there was going to be enough air between the top of the water and the ceiling for him to breathe.
He told us that he just got on the roof and kind of sat on the roof for a couple hours.
Got outside under the eaves of the house, the water kept rising, got on top of the house. The wind and the bark that was blowing in the wind was ripping at his clothes, literally.
And he told me he just sat on the roof for a few hours and watched everything go by, and I just can't imagine sitting on the roof of your house as a last resort. I couldn't even imagine the things he saw go by. Probably all the cars, all the debris, just trees, probably parts of houses.
I guess he realized that the water wasn't going to go down, it was just going to get worse.
And he just knew he had to swim for it to an adjacent house.
He swam about 10 yards to some trees, swam from tree to tree, and then probably swam another 15 yards to this house that he eventually broke into through a window.
They had a 2-story house, and he stayed there for the rest of the storm.
But I bet the worst part was after he survives, he realizes, oh, my home's gone. I don't have anything left.
He said his house was completely underwater by the end of the storm.
The house had not been lived in 2.5 years. He had cleaned out the front yard with friends that made it presentable. But the government was local government was beginning to say, you've got to do something about the property. You need to clear the backyard, which had grown up 2.5 years worth. And not only in terms of height, but vines and everything that happens when it's been underwater and seeds come from everywhere and just trash.
When we first met him, he was very shy. Like, asking him questions was kind of like pulling teeth. He'd ask him a question, he'd kind of mumble a response. wasn't very approachable. He was kind of hesitant to interact. But over the course of the 3 days, he really opened up. And it went from talking from a homeowner to a volunteer to almost just talking to his friends, like we'd known each other for a while.
He was just really uplifted that people would come all the way from Virginia to help just him.
At one point he goes, I can't believe you guys would come down here for a week and give a week of your time being a college student. We're like, yeah, we like helping out. It's something we enjoy. He was like, you guys have really, really inspired me to come do some more volunteer work. And I just thought that was awesome. I think that's really the true point of mission. Yeah, we're good down there to work on a physical structure, but the most important thing is touching the lives down there. And I definitely think we touched Mike's life.
I think he believes in himself more now. I think he sees what can be done with just a few other people. And I think that it'll help him move on, especially being able to tell his story to us, because he had no other friends around there.
He said, I think to Wes, that we had inspired him to, help out some other people down there. So that's really neat that our helping him is gonna, in turn help other people too. So
that was probably one of the most moving experiences I've had in mission. I've worked with some awesome people and had some great experience, but Mike's story and Mike's changing over 3 days was very inspirational.
The Miradors that we had to drill through the concrete was the least fun I've ever had.
I was smart enough to not even try that. I know if you don't have a masonry bit, you're not getting through concrete.
Oh, that was a pain in the butt.
It was awful. It didn't budge. Jeff's like, just sit there and you just have to keep going at it. And we're like, Chelsea and I are like, are you crazy?
If you've never really used power tools before and the first thing you're trying to drill into is concrete, it doesn't go very well for you. Yeah.
I broke a drill bit because I put too much pressure.
You had to push really hard to get the drill to go through the concrete. And we had 3 guys constantly switching on the drill and pushing down into the concrete, and we had to keep wetting it, and it was brutal.
Yeah, you have to keep it going down straight. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to drill through concrete. It's like, it's not like I'm drilling through a wall that it's just gonna go in.
I actually took a turn too on trying to drill into the concrete floor, but we had not just one broken drill bit that day, because that project was not going too well. And eventually it did have to be a job for Jeff Davis.
I slept well for about an hour, and then I heard like this bear roaring or something. I'm like, there can't be a bear in here, but it was Don snoring like really loud.
Snorific. It was so hard trying to go to bed with 15 grown men snoring as loud as they can.
I know for us, especially the college kids, it was kind of comical. We're not the old men who snore traditionally, so it was kind of a funny experience. I mean, I know we laughed for about a half an hour.
Everyone snores in their own way, so we started naming people, and your snore can be very descriptive, and you can tag your snore to anything, so it got comical.
I mean, that was funny. It was like a symphony of snores and all the different sounds of snoring. I didn't know you could make different sounds in snoring. I thought it was just one kind of constant sound.
We had Lawnmower Man, Chainsaw Man. Somebody sounded like a polar bear. I don't know how. Nobody was even that big at camp, but somebody sounded like a polar bear. There was a lot of animals, trust me.
Ah, the turtle. I love turtles.
Every time I dug a hole in the ground, I was like, is there a snake down there?
And she just kind of passed out and slept on the couch the whole day.
I was just like, oh. That was like my favorite position of that day. It was like,
I think it's yellow.
He's an idiot. It's wrong.